On this video, it's actually Monday morning, 13th of April 2013, Sunday evening Chicago time, just about 6:30 p.m. Just thought I'd put out a quick little video. There was a nice little setup on Friday, just want to run through that quickly. But before I do that, but just talk about the bonds. So this is the 30-year bond contract chart. We had a sell-off on Friday. It was pretty hard. I was expecting this blue professional bar to hold and us to kind of bounce back up. Didn't happen that way, so it's kind of a little bit weaker than I expected. Still see the US dollar as being strong, and so the international money flows coming into US assets. Latterly, they've been pushing up the equity market. So even though the bonds have been weakening here, the equity markets have been strong. At some point, there's got to be some kind of rotation. So taking profit out of equities and kind of flowing into bonds. Potentially, that's kind of setting up. I'll show you the long-term 40,500 tip bar chart where we're kind of coming out to maxing out. We've also got some weakness happening here Sunday evening. But anyway, this has come back down to this breakout level, so resistance potentially becoming support. We've got cyclical support due here, so I don't think this is an absolute game changer in terms of the bonds, but it's a lot weaker than I expected it to come back. We'll kind of wait and see. And this is this kind of bonds versus equities chart here, so you can see the strength in equities that we've had and then the weakness in bonds over that time period. This bond oscillator then shows when we're above this zero line here, just that the strength is in the equities and the money's flowing into equities. But we did have this strength into bonds, and we kind of flipped down here below the zero line, so that during this period you've got kind of relative strength happening in the bond market rather than the equity market, and we've kind of flipped just above the zero line here as the bonds have been selling off, the equities have been strong. So we'll see, is this kind of time for it to kind of come back down below the zero line and the money to flow back into bonds. I'll be looking at that kind of going forward. But this is the 40,500 tip bar chart, and just remember over the last week or so we have had these exhaustion patterns, bearish divergence, more bearish divergence, first bearish divergence and then subsequent bearish divergence, and we got pullback to end of trend. We had blue professional bars coming in at the highs here as we closed on Friday, and we've got a little bit of weakness happening at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see pullback to end of trend, kind of 40,500 tip bar chart, if we finally get some weakness in equities. So Friday's activity, this was it. 1.4 million contracts traded, 10 points top to bottom. Nice little day, although it was kind of up and down, up and down. And let me just show you on the 1500 tip bar chart, this was the nice kind of setup. So we kind of bottomed out on Friday, pulled back to end of trend. We'd had our exhaustion selling and first bullish divergence kind of coming here. Note the RAMBO with exhaustion, these are always unstable, and that's showing we've got a huge kind of flow to this side, and the amateurs are playing around down here, expecting this kind of big swing down to kind of continue down. No, they get wrong-footed, goes back the other way, and on that retest of that lows, the blue professional bars, the professionals kind of coming at 21, pick it up. So overnight we had a little bit of strength, and then the market couldn't decide which way to go. I was initially kind of going short at the beginning of Friday, but then had to get out of this position, and then we had this really strong, it was a very kind of odd kind of rally back up into exhaustion patterns, and again the same thing going on. Exhaustion, these were really high readings. I think this is about plus 17,000 on better momentum on the 1500 tip bar chart. I'm usually looking at kind of 8s and 10s as being big readings, so 17 or so was a very big reading. And so that was coming along with RAMBO patterns here. So the amateurs again getting wrong-footed on an exhaustion move kind of in this direction, and as soon as the bearish divergence kind of comes in, you can see we just dropped to the lows. So I was getting short at 27 even. It turned out to be a nice little trade. It bottomed out where we have a whole cluster of blue professional bars kind of coming in. On the lower time frames, you can see this move on the 500 tip bar chart coming into it, RAMBO patterns with exhaustion, bearish divergence. Doesn't make a nice kind of pullback to end of trend sequence, a little bit weaker than that, but you can see on this double top more amateur up bars, RAMBO patterns right at the top here at 29, and we get another little amateur up bar here showing the weakness. The amateurs are trying to buy this little breakout. We come to a support level, blue professional bar steps in, and then the lows of that, the support gets broken, the blue professional bar gets broken, bang, and we're into a nice little downtrend on the downside. Didn't kind of end up with a pretty kind of pullback to end of trend. It ended up with this kind of whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of coming in, and we rallied back up. Low wasn't in until we saw the exhaustion selling on the downside. So all this was a little kind of complex retracement all the way up. As we come back in, you can see again a U-turn here with blue professional bars. Blue professional bars taking positions on the way up and then chasing it on the way down, bang, and then we end up with our exhaustion pattern. We rally back there, and then they were just itching to break, bust those stops. I think this level was 29, something like that, on this previous high, and so they were just itching and itching and itching, and then bang, they bust those stops, and a whole bunch of blue professional bars kind of come in at the end of the day. So that was actually a cyclical turning point on the 4500 tip bar chart here, all the way down to those blue professional bars kind of coming in. So it was a nice little setup. I'll tag it on. It was my best trade of that day. Ended up picking up 5.25 points on that move down. So it was nice, but it was because this just did not feel right. This kind of busting back up in order to catch people out. The amateurs getting caught out, unfortunately, with that kind of exhaustion buying pattern and then selling off from there. Anyway, looking forward to next week. Thank you for all the comments on the Aussie video plus the Google plus Hangouts on air. The resolution was poor. That was kind of the common comment. Yep, realised that. There's a limitation, unfortunately, with those Hangouts because they're real-time streaming videos to the resolution of the charts that I can get through. So back to the usual kind of recordings. Hopefully this will look nice and crisp. Hope your trading's going well. 27 even, short 27 even. Check my stops and targets, and the reason I'm getting short, various divergences come in here on 1500. This rally back up I thought was really suspect. RAMBO patterns with exhaustions, always unstable. Blue professional bars kind of stepped in. We tried to make it back up. Blue professional bar, no, wouldn't go anywhere. We had all these amateur up bars here. 500, so breaking through support on the 500 tip bar chart here. This will come into play at some time, cyclical support on the 1500, but it could be kind of back down here. So come on, let's get through here and accelerate on the downside. For what's going on 1500, we're just playing around this level. I think we're just about to drop. Another blue professional bar kind of came in. We spiked. We're at the lows, but through support here, take us into a strong trend on the way down. And this was just a blow-off move, just like these. So come on, ooh, there we go, jumped. So targets are 23, but just kind of the previous low for the day. Let's not get too cocky because this has got to have a retrace at some time. Until this energy, this upswing energy has fully played itself out, we'll have some strength come in, so let's just watch it. Move my target out at 21 even, just want to move it out of the way, and this thing's just collapsed through support here, the pullback level. I'm at a down bar RAMBO pattern, not too worried about that. This is clearly in a downtrend, and we're gunning for the low of the day, which is 23 even, so that's where my initial target was. So if we get to it, we'll probably go through it. Only 6,000. This reading was massive. It was like 19, 16. Thought the next one, yeah, 17,000. So it's got to be a big reading to stop this thing. So let's hold on. Here we go. 23.25. Original target's 23 even. Just hit. So this is where I get nervous, where I think I should have just left it where it is, but there we go. So that was the previous low. Woo! Alright, run a few stops. No blue professional bars yet. It's only 8,000 reading here. Still got to see pullback to end of trend. I'm looking for 21 even. So come on, just another. Okay, first blue professional bar stepping in on 1500. A little bit of a bounce. Wasn't a huge reading here. So come on. Which blue professional bars kind of come in here? A couple here. One on 4500. Still got to go pull back to end of trend. The low was 22. Could see it still wasn't a real solid reading. On better momentum here on the way down. So another kind of flash down. Take us to 21. Come on, break through this support. Previous low. There we go. Come on. 21.75. Couldn't stand it. Too many blue professional bars coming in for my liking on the 1500 right down here. Still got to go pull back to end of trend, so I'm sure it'll go through there. We've got a little bit of time to run on the 4500, but that's a lot of blue professional bars taking profits. So that's still pretty good, better than my normal trade. So 5.25. on that one, but I needed it to pick back up those losses in the first 3 trades. Anyway, that's me done for the day, 9:38 AM.